Hey guys, thanks for joining. We're going to get started in a couple of minutes. We're going to be highlighting the CPT book, and we're going to be starting on page 151. And I have the 2025 book. Okay, if you guys have any questions about medical coding or the CPC exam, okay, feel free to ask in the comments. Thanks for joining, guys. Okay, so I am going to start on page 151. We're in the musculoskeletal system. Can't say that. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight the first couple of words of each main code. Okay, so what I mean is any code that is not indented. Okay, so I'm starting at 21920. Okay, it's not indented. I'm just going to highlight the first couple of words. Same thing for 21930. Okay. And then I'm just going to go back and link the codes that are indented with the code above it. So 21925 is indented. I'm just going to link them together like that. Okay, and I just do the same thing for 21930 and 21931. Okay, that's an indented code. Okay, remember how you read the full code description for an indented code. Okay, so that is why I linked them together, so it's easier to see the full code description. Okay, so there's not that many codes on this page. Again, I'm on page 151. Okay, and then there's more, examples here. Okay, you could highlight some of this as well. Okay, now remember, you can have your book highlighted for the CPC exam. You can have tabs like this for the CPC exam. Okay, these are in my TikTok shop, but even if you wanted to make them yourself, okay, I think it really does help with, navigating the book and finding codes quickly. Okay, I'm just going to stop and look at some of the comments here. Okay, when will you have your next live? Okay, I go live every Monday at 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, another question is 1 year of educational training required to get my CPC certificate? Okay, so certificate is not the same as a certification. Okay, so if you're talking about a certificate for a coding course, okay, usually when a course is over and you complete the course, you get a certificate. I don't know if that's what you mean. If you mean the CPC certification, okay, you do not need to take a course to get certified. I mean, it's highly recommended, but technically you don't have to. Okay, if you're someone out there who's looking to take a coding course, my next one will start in March. Okay, so after I go back and group the codes together, the last step is I just go back and circle what's in parentheses. Can I do that just because it's easier to see and you don't miss these? Like here it gives more directions about modifiers. Okay, you just don't want to miss any of that information, so that is why I circle it. Okay, and that's basically it. Okay, this is how I highlight the book. Okay, if you find a way that works better for you, then definitely do that. Okay, but this is the way that I like to highlight the book. And this is the way that I encourage my students to highlight the book. Okay, so again, I'm on page 152 now. I'm just going to highlight the first couple of words of each main code. So a code that's not indented. Okay, so here, code 22116, that is an add-on code. It has a little plus sign in front of it. Okay, that's an add-on code, and that means that that could not be coded by itself. It has to be coded with another code. Okay, I see a question. You have your associates in medical billing and coding. Is there work from home out there? Okay, yes, you'd have to do a job search and see what's out there. You also can, look on Indeed and LinkedIn and different Facebook groups and try to network with people. But there are work from home jobs. Okay, did I make my own tabs? Yes, I do make the tabs, and they're in my TikTok shop. Any advice for jobs? I mean, yeah, you would just have to do a job search and see what's in your area, and again, see if you can network. Okay, thanks for joining, guys. And thank you, guys. I see some of you are following me. Thank you for that. All right, then I go back and just link the codes together that are indented with the code above it. So 22015 is indented. Just link it with the code above it, 22010, so it's just easier to read the full code description. Okay, remember when you read the description of a CPT code, you read everything up until the semicolon, and then go to the code below it to read the full code description of the indented code. Okay. Now I'm at 22100. Okay, all of these codes underneath are indented, so I link them together so it's easier to see the full code description. Okay. That's what this page looks like, and then again I just go back and circle what's in parentheses. Now here all of this is in parentheses, so I mean I don't know how you want to do that. If you want to circle them individually, you can. I just put one square around it. Okay, so that's what that page looks like. Okay, here it talks about modifiers. Okay, make sure you know where to find the code descriptions of your modifiers. Okay, they can be found on the back of the front cover of the book for a short description, and also a long description in the back of the book at Appendix A. Okay, I'm going to stop for questions again. Okay, Roxy says she has to take her exam soon and you're nervous about the exam. Okay, so for the CPC exam, you have 4 hours to answer 100 multiple choice questions. So really you have to do the process of elimination and know test taking techniques to finish the exam and not run out of time. So I recommend that you look at the answers first and then go right to the tabular, read the code descriptions, and then go back and read the question to, see if you can get the answer that way, rather than going to the index and the tabular, like how you would code in real life. Okay, I wouldn't recommend doing that because you will run out of time if you do it that way. Okay, you also could take the practice exams from AAPC. You can find them on the AAPC website. Those are very good for practice, and time yourselves and see if you can get through. And if you consistently get a 70% or higher, then I would say you're ready to take the exam, because you have to get a 70% or higher to pass. Okay, another question: how long have you been teaching, and what certification would you recommend? Okay, I recommend the CPC certification from AAPC to start with. If you don't want to start with AAPC certifications, you also could look at AHIMA. Okay, but I'm not too familiar with AHIMA certifications because all of mine are from AAPC, so I don't really like recommending those, only because I don't know too much about them. So I recommend the CPC from AAPC. And I have been teaching I've been teaching coding for about a year, but I've been a radiology coder and auditor for about 10 years, and before that I used to be a teacher with 5th grade, little kids, and coding was a career change for me. So overall I've been teaching a very long time. Another question from Bree says, is it good to find an entry-level coding job while taking coding class? you're currently in the AAPC classes. Yes, I would say if you could find any type of entry-level job, whether it be, someone who works denials or scheduling, or someone who does pre-authorizations, anything in the revenue cycle is, very good for experience and will help you to get a coding job. Okay, another question. You have 0 experience. How do I start? You don't know anything about healthcare or anatomy. Okay, if you are brand new, like completely, never took any type of course or anything at all, I would say just start with, I don't require students to take medical terminology before they take my coding course, but it's not a bad idea to just look at different medical terminology books, medical anatomy books, or like very, entry-level type classes or webinars that are out there. I actually offer a free medical terminology just workshop. It's like an hour and a half. You can find that on my website, and just to get a little bit of an idea. Okay, and then, see if you would like to get into coding. Okay, but it is a commitment though. You'll have to take a class. Okay, so it's not something you want to just jump into. You really want to think about it. Another question or comment. I found it hard to find a job because they want 2 to 3 years experience. Yes, that is true. It is hard to find a job right away because these places do want you to have experience, because think about what you're doing. You're coding stuff, and that is how the practice, gets paid. That's how they get their money. So they want people who are doing it to know what they're doing. So that is why I say to try to find a job that's in the revenue cycle, that's, related to coding in some way, where you use some codes, like billing, denials, doing stuff like that you could work your way to a coding job. But yes, it could be difficult. Okay, Sandra says you're taking billing and coding at DeVry. You think you're paying too much. I don't know anything about I have no idea how much that costs, and I don't know anything about their program. Definitely compare programs and see what's out there and see how they compare to each other. So, if you want to learn more about my course, that's listed on my website. Definitely read over that and compare it to other ones out there and see, which one works best for you, because they're all different. Naomi says, how much are the CPT and ICD-10 books? You can get them off the AAPC website and Amazon. It really depends. Usually the books are about $110 each. Sometimes they sell them as a bundle and you can get them for cheaper. So you really kind of have to look, but they can be a little bit pricey. If you're taking a course, a lot of times the coding books come with your coding course. Okay, so don't buy anything, if you're going to take a course, don't buy anything until you see what's included with your course. Sandra says you got yours for $134. Okay, that's great. If you got all 3 of your books for $134, that's great. That is not what I paid for mine. I want to say mine were about $110 each. And okay, that was just the CPT. Yeah, that's probably about right for the CPT book. Yep, I gotta buy my own books too. Just because I'm an instructor doesn't mean that I get free books. Okay, I have to pay for mine as well. Thanks for joining, guys. Okay, I'm gonna go to page 153. Okay, Mary says, you teach online classes. Yes, my class is online, and it also includes live instruction. You can find more about it on my website, which is linked in my bio. Okay, so now I'm going to start by highlighting the first couple of words of each main code again. Okay, this is code 22220. And another thing, it doesn't really matter what the words are. Like, I remember I had someone on my live that said, oh, you're just highlighting the same words over and over. Now, that's true. Like in some cases, these words are all the same here. but I'm not really highlighting it because of what it says. Okay, I'm highlighting it just so I can group the codes together and see them easier. Okay, now remember, for the CPC exam, you don't have to memorize anything, but you do need to know how to, find codes in the book, know what terms mean. Okay, you don't have to memorize, but you have to be able to navigate the books. That's why I recommend the tabs and also highlighting. Okay, so this is what this page looks like. Then I just go back and circle what's in parentheses. Okay, you also can highlight some of the more, there's more information here. Now, some people use all different, they use different colored highlighters. If you want to do stuff like that, you can. I'm just kind of doing this, pretty basic here. I'm only just using one color highlighter. Okay, again, this is talking about modifiers over here. Okay. I saw a question, what state am I in? I am in Pennsylvania. But I've had students from all over the US. I've also had students from overseas. So even if you don't live in my time zone, that is okay. Can you write notes in your books prior to the exam? Yes. Yes, you can. So I recommend to my students that they do this, while they are going through the coding course. Okay, because if you wait till the end of the class, I feel like it would be very overwhelming and time consuming. So that's why I recommend that they do this as they go along. So when they're working on the respiratory chapter of the class, I recommend that they highlight, while they are, studying that chapter in the class. Okay, question from Mimi, how much is my class? You can find that on my website. Every time I say it in a live, I get flagged and get all these notifications from TikTok that I can't talk about that. But you'll see that on my website, and you'll see everything else that is included with the class. Okay, now I am on page 154. Okay, again, just doing the same thing, highlighting the first couple of words of each main code. Okay, these are all different fracture CPT codes. All right, and then I just go back and link the codes together that are indented with the code above it. So 22325 is a main code, and all these codes underneath it are indented, so I just link them together like that. Okay. Then again, just go back and circle what's in parentheses. Okay, a lot of times the parentheses tell you what cannot be coded together. Sometimes it says what can be coded together. Gives information about, what modifiers to use. Okay, so that is why I like to circle what's in parentheses. And again, just highlighting some more information. I usually just do like the first couple lines of each paragraph. Okay, so again, that was page 154. Okay, now I'm on page 155. Okay, now recently, just I think it was last week, okay, AAPC announced that you are allowed to use ebooks for your exam. Okay, I don't really know how you guys feel about that. I can just tell you my opinion about it. I think it's better to use actual books, and right now they give you a choice. You could use books or ebooks, but if you use an ebook, And if you purchase the ebook, you can write notes in it and you'd have it on your computer. Okay, but that's not the book you would use when you're taking the exam. Okay, they would give you a separate ebook without your notes and your highlights or anything like that in it. Okay, so that's why I still recommend to my students to use the books. Think about that if you're getting ready to take the exam, what you think would work best for you. Or if you guys have any opinions on ebooks, I'd like to, know what you guys think about that in the comments. I don't use the ebooks to teach, but I do show my students the ebooks in my class so they can get an idea of how to use them, and it's easy for them to follow along. But if you sign up for my class, I still use the books. Where can you get the ebooks? They are on the AAPC website. You get the ebooks, they are on the AAPC website. Okay. All right. Again, I'm on page 155 now, just highlighting the first couple of words of each main code that's not indented. Okay. And then I go back and circle, group the codes together that are indented with the code above it. And then I go back and circle what's in parentheses. Okay, I also just like to highlight the first sentence or two of each paragraph because it gives more directions. Okay, again, that was page 155. Okay, the question, where did I get the book? Okay, this is the CPT book. I got it from the AAPC website, but it does not come with these tabs. Okay, it comes with other tabs that I personally don't like them. The tabs that the book comes with. So I make and sell these tabs. These are in my TikTok shop. Thank you. I'm glad you guys like the tabs. It definitely does make coding easier. Okay, they're double-sided. It just makes you be able to navigate the book quicker and to find codes quicker. Okay, Amber says medical coders should be paid more. Yeah, I mean, it depends where you work and it depends what specialty you code, but yes, I definitely think medical coders should be paid a little more, because what they do is super important. And yeah, you're absolutely right. There definitely is a lot of knowledge. You're right. Okay, again, just highlighting the first couple of words of each main code. Okay, and then just going back and linking the codes together that are indented with the code above it. Okay, code 22534 is an add-on code because it has the plus sign in front of it. That's how you know it's an add-on code. Okay, an add-on code cannot be coded by itself. Okay, that's what this page looks like. And then I go back and circle what's in parentheses. Okay, and then I just go back and just highlight a little bit of each paragraph here. Okay, again, this was page 156. Okay, I'm going to stop for questions. If you guys have any questions about medical coding in general or the CPC exam, please post in the comments and we'll look at those. Okay, question, can you sell me this book? I don't sell the book. Okay, the book you can get from AAPC or Amazon or anywhere that sells, medical books. You should be able to find it, but I do sell the tabs. Okay, those you can get in my TikTok shop. Okay, Shasha says you're taking the CPC in March. Okay, so you're doing your second attempt at the exam. So yeah, a lot of people, it's common to not pass the first time around. Okay, so don't feel bad if you don't pass. Sometimes people miss it by just a couple of points or a couple of questions, and they have to take the exam again. So if that happens, again, I recommend tabbing your books. I recommend highlighting your books, and also learning test-taking techniques like the process of elimination to pass the CPC exam. It is a difficult test because some of the questions are, worded in such a way that the answers are all similar. So you're going to have to know your guidelines. Okay, there's a lot of ICD-10 questions. Some questions will have, the same codes but in a different order. So you have to know the order that codes come in. Okay, so you're going to have to know your guidelines. Okay, so there is a lot to learn to pass the CPC exam. Okay, I think the question is how many times can you take the exam? Okay, a voucher is good for 2 exam tries. Okay, and you'll find more information about that on the AAPC website. And also another thing to keep in mind too is an employer is never going to ask, what score, what you got. Okay, so even if you pass just by a little bit, say you get like a 72 or a 73, okay, no one's ever going to ask you your score. Okay, so as long as you get a 70 or above, you're good. Okay, Caitlin says, how do I go about studying the order of what the codes go in? Okay, that, what I was saying before, is based on the ICD-10 coding guidelines. That's what I was referring to about, what to code first. And the guidelines are in the front of the ICD-10 book. So I would spend some time, looking over those, making sure you understand the guidelines, know where they are in the book. Okay, you also could write notes in the guidelines if that would help you. How many questions are on the exam? It is 100 questions. Yeah, definitely highlight the guidelines, make notes if you think it will help you. Okay, so another comment, English is not your first language. Okay, so that that's a whole other challenge. That would be difficult for sure. Any other questions about the CPC exam or medical coding in general? Okay, so Lori says, what should I get to start my medical billing and coding process? Okay, so the first thing I would say is, if you definitely want to go into medical coding, look at different programs. Look at what's out there. There's different programs, there's different schools, and they all offer, different things. It could be set up differently. Different things are included in different classes. So I would say the first step is definitely deciding, I guess what certification you want to go for, which I always recommend the CPC, and then, deciding what program you want to take. Okay, another question, should I pick billing or coding or both? Okay, that depends on what I guess your goals are. Okay, billing, there is a billing certification from AAPC, but you do not need it to become a biller. Okay, billing is considered an entry-level position where you don't need a certification. Some people do get it just to have it, okay, but you don't need it. Okay, but if you decide that you want to go into coding, just coding, then you will need a certification. Okay, Michelle says, is it better to get the CPC or from AAPC or the CCS? Okay, the CCS is a HEMA certification. A HEMA tends to lean more on the inpatient side of coding, where AAPC is more of the outpatient coding, even though they do have an inpatient certification. They have lots of different certifications. Which one is better really just depends on what your goals are, where you want to work, what you want to do, and different jobs in your area. I know for me in Pennsylvania, every time I look at jobs, they are always looking for AAPC certifications. But again, you'll have to just do some research on that. Okay, Amber says, you received your RHIT. Can I sit for my CCS without taking more classes? Okay, that I'm not sure, because that's an AHEMA question. So I would say, check out their website and see. Okay, I'm honestly not sure. I don't know. All right, thanks for joining, guys, and thanks to you guys who are following me. Can I do medical coding without any medical background? Yes. I mean, once you learn coding, you will start to understand. You don't have to necessarily have any medical background to start to learn coding. Okay, but if you do have some background, like even if you just worked in an office or anything like that, will help you. It will help you just, if you know terminology, it will help you. If you know some anatomy, it will help you, because all of that will help you understand the different code descriptions for CPT and ICD-10. So it definitely helps if you have a little bit of a background, for sure. Okay, now I am on page 157. Okay, again, just highlighting the first couple of words of each main code. Okay, this is code 22586, and that's kind of it. There's no more real codes on this page. Okay, 22585 is an indented code that would link with the code on page 156. All right, so then I would just circle what's in parentheses. Okay, here it also gives some definitions, so I would highlight these. Okay. Just going to look at some questions. Is it hard to find a job in coding? It can be. Okay, this is definitely something, I don't sugarcoat this in any of my lives or any of my videos or anything. Excuse me. It can be hard to find a job in the beginning. Okay, that's why I recommend that you start out in the revenue cycle, doing something else similar to coding, where you do use codes to get some experience before going after a coding job. But there are a couple of people here and there that do find a coding job right away with no experience, so it's definitely not impossible. Okay, but it can be difficult. So I just like to, give you guys realistic expectations of how it could be. Okay, Mel says, how long have I been coding? Okay, I got into coding in 2014. Okay, my specialty is radiology coding. So I did that for a very long time before I got into the teaching side. Okay, thanks for joining, guys. Okay, again, now I'm on page 158. Just highlighting the first couple of words of each main code. Okay, and then linking the codes that are indented with the codes above it. So 22600 is not indented, so I highlighted it. And then just linking the indented codes above it. All right, and then there's more definitions here, so I'm just going to highlight that. And then circle what's in parentheses. Okay, so again, that was page 158. Okay, a couple of questions. Do you recommend getting a degree or just a certification? Okay, again, that depends on what you want to do. Okay, if you just want to do coding, okay, you don't have to get a degree. Okay, they just want you to have a certification. Okay, but again, look at different programs out there and see what you want to do. Definitely do your research. Okay, is there a job for just laboratory coding? You're a lab tech. Okay, so you're already a lab tech going for coding. That's great. Yes, there should be jobs out there for lab coding. Sometimes it's labs are grouped with radiology. Sometimes, okay, it depends on how the place you work, how it's set up or where you work for. But yes, there's definitely lab coders out there. Is it good pay, and are there opportunities for growth and promotion? So yes, it again depends where you work, what your pay will be, and what specialty you're coding, and there's definitely room for growth. You can go a lot of different directions. Like I worked in coding for a while, but then eventually moved on to auditing, which is a little bit different. Okay, now I'm teaching, okay, which is different again, okay, but all related to coding, okay. Again, it depends what you want to do, okay, but all related to coding, okay. Again, it depends what you want to do. Someone says you're a surgery scheduler and you do not require CPT codes when scheduling. Okay, I don't know about that. Sounds kind of weird, but I don't know. Okay, you didn't even go to school for coding and you taught yourself. Yeah, I mean, if you're someone who's really good at learning on your own, you could learn how to code on your own. I mean, there's no reason why you can't. But again, it would be hard for most people, but there are definitely people out there who can. Do I think 2 months is enough time to prepare for the exam? Your program's only giving you 2 months. Okay, so if you mean 2 months after your course is over, preparing for the exam 2 months after, then yes, I would say that's enough. But again, it really depends on your comfort level too. I recommend to my students at least a month. I actually say 1 to 2 months. But again, it really depends on your comfort level too. I recommend to my students at least a month. I actually say 1 to 2 months. As a scheduler, I've had to teach myself to sign CPTs. Oh my gosh. Say 1 to 2 months. As a scheduler, I've had to teach myself to sign CPTs. Oh my gosh. That's kind of scary. I would hope that you'd have some kind of order or script or something to look at, but who knows? If you had to teach yourself and you learn them, that's great. Okay, Jenny says, is medical coding hard? I mean, there is a learning curve to coding. Okay, it definitely takes time to grasp, especially in the beginning. Okay, but you got to put time into it, and it's just like anything else. Okay, Mel says you were in nursing school for 1 semester and you learned a lot of medical terminology. Okay, that's really good. Yeah, any kind of terminology that you know will definitely help you. Thanks guys for joining, and thanks guys for following me. Okay, we're going to do a couple more pages. Okay, I go live every Monday night, or at least I try to every Monday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. All right, again, just highlighting the first couple of words of each main code. All right, and then linking the codes that are indented with the code above it. There's not too many codes on this page. Okay, and then circling what's in parentheses. Again, you don't have to memorize any of this, but you have to be able to navigate the books and find where things are. Okay. Okay, would I recommend starting out and billing first? Yes, if you can, I think that is a great place to start. Definitely would be good to start. Well, if you mean as a job, I would say if you can get a billing job first, that would be good. If you mean taking a billing course first, okay, that really would depend. Most of my students do not take a billing course; they go right to coding. But it depends what you want to do. Okay, Mel says, do you go over any practice tests? I can't show any of that stuff on lives, so I don't show any of that on social media, no. Okay, but I do practice questions with my students, during class. Is the exam open book? Yes, you can use your 3 coding books. You'll use this CPT book, the ICD-10 book, and the HCPCS book. Okay, Jesse says you have a degree in HIM. I've been out of the field since 2004. Do I need more schooling? Okay, so that 21 years is a while, but like that's tough for me to answer. If you've never done coding before, or if you're really rusty on it, I would say it can't hurt to look at a program just to see. Or if you don't want to do that, you could, get the practice test from AAPC. You can buy just one. They let you buy them individually and kind of, see where you're at. If you're doing the test and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't really remember this, then definitely look back into schooling. It really just depends. Okay, Cal says you worked as an office coordinator and wound care outpatient clinic. You're starting medical coding. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, congrats. Where did I get my tabs? I make these and sell them. They're in my TikTok shop. Lisa says, where can I get information on my program? Okay, that is on my website, which is linked in my bio. Just click on the link and you'll see my link tree, and you'll see where to go for my coding course information. My next one starts in starts in a month, but registration is going to close in like less than 2 weeks because I have to make sure I can get everyone their books and everything. Okay, so you still have some time, and there's still a couple seats left in my class if that's something you're interested in. Okay, how much is my program? You'll see that on my website. I can't say it on a live just because I get flagged from TikTok for some reason. I don't know why. I talk about it in my videos and it's fine, but I can't say it on a live. But again, you'll see that on my website. All right, thanks for joining, guys, and thanks for following me. Okay, I'm just gonna this will probably be my last page. I'm on page 161, just highlighting the first couple of words of each main code here. Okay, then I go back and link the codes together that are indented with the code that's highlighted, so it's easier to read the full code description. And then I go back and circle what's in parentheses. Okay, again, talking about modifiers. You can find the modifiers on the back of the front cover of this book and also in the back of the book in Appendix A. Okay, and then I just highlight the first sentence or so of each paragraph. Okay, now the CPT book does have codes in red like this. Okay, 22836, 22837, 22838. You can see they're in red. Okay, this means the code is out of order. Okay, so it's out of sequence. And then over here, it tells you where you can find those codes. Jesse says, can I buy a practice test? Yes, those are on the AAPC website. I'm not really sure how much they are, but you can buy them, I think, individually. Or you can buy, more than one test if you want. Beely says you have to do this every year for new books. Yeah, I mean, it really depends. Once you're out working in the field, you're probably going to be using software on the computer, or like a coding program, different things to help you. So you might not highlight your books like this, and also you're probably only going to be working with one or two sections of the CPT book. So for example, my specialty was radiology. I only worked in the radiology section of the book, so I never even dealt with any of the other ones. So it's not like I had to do this every year. Okay, Bailey says you've been coding for 7 years. Okay, that's great. That's good. Anyone else have any questions about the CPC exam or medical coding in general? I'll be going live again next Monday at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Where did I get my book? Okay, the CPT book itself is from AAPC. The tabs are in my TikTok shop. Okay, Cal says, do you freelance for doctors? Okay, no, I don't. But I mean, there are coders out there who have their own type of business where they could, look for physicians to work for. Okay, I don't do that. I still do radiology auditing, but it's for it's for a company. It's not for a specific practice. Does anyone else have any questions? All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining me tonight. Do I live comfortably with auditing? Yes. I mean, auditing does pay more than coding. So I definitely, think it's a good path to go on. You could start with coding, eventually work up to auditing. But again, if you're looking at salaries, you could compare different jobs. Do a job search, see what they're paying around you. The AAPC website also does have like a salary, like they put together every year like a survey to get an idea of what people are making in different places. You could look at that, but I would start by looking at your own area first, just to see. Grisha says, what is auditing? Okay, so coding is different from auditing. So what I do with auditing is I look at things that have already been coded by a coder. Okay, things that have already been processed, sent to the insurance company, it's all done. I look at what they coded and I check to see if it was right. Or, I look at that. I look at CPT codes, ICD-10 codes. I look at physician documentation. For radiology coding, they have to have a lot of specific things in their reports. So if it's not in there, we provide like physician education, stuff like that. So they, have everything in the reports that they're supposed to do. Okay, so auditing is a little bit different from coding. Okay, another question. You want to do both inpatient and outpatient coding. Do you know which course I should take? Okay, inpatient coding and outpatient coding are, I mean, there's some similarities. They both use ICD-10 codes, but inpatient uses codes that outpatient does not. They use ICD-10 PCS for their procedure codes. So I don't know if there's one course that teaches both inpatient and outpatient. My course only teaches outpatient. So I'm not sure what other, courses, you'd have to look around. Okay, so let me look at this question. Where can you find the differences in pathology levels? You're on page 711. Okay, let me just look at that. Okay, so this is page 711. Okay, I'm not really sure what you're question is, really. I mean, here it just lists 88300 is level 1, 88302 is level 2, okay, then there's level 3 codes, well, 88304, and then there's stuff listed underneath, and level 4. You have a hard time knowing which to use. Okay, I'd have to see an example of like a report or a question that you have for me to kind of help you. I don't, I need to look at an example. And if you have an example, you could email me, or if any of you guys have any questions, my email is lindsay@midnightmedicalcoding.com. Okay, I've had people reach out to me all the time with questions. Okay, and that's fine. You can do that. Also, the link to my email is also in my bio on here. And also, I just want to throw out there, in case TikTok ever gets banned again, I'm also on YouTube. So you can find all of my videos on there as well. Okay, you're going to email me the question? Okay, yep, definitely can do that. All right, any other questions before we go? All right, guys. Well, thanks again for joining me tonight. I'll be live again next Monday at 9 o'clock. All right, and I'll be highlighting the CPT book like this again. All right, if you think of any questions, again, feel free to email me at lindsay@midnightmedicalcoding.com. Okay, you also, again, can find these tabs in my TikTok shop. I have them for this book, the CPT, and also the ICD-10. Okay, if you're looking for the Hicks picks, those are only in my Etsy store. All right. Again, if you're looking for more information on my class, the links for that are in my link tree, which is in my bio. My next class starts in a couple of weeks. All right, so feel free to email me any questions about coding, any questions about the class. All right, thank you guys. I got a lot of new followers tonight, so thank you. All right, I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good rest of the night. Thanks, guys.